listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you today. It's a beautiful day. It is Thursday, October the 6th. It's, it's going to be a wonderful day because I choose when it can be a wonderful day in my world. And so in my world, it's going to be a wonderful day. And as usual, good morning, Julia. It's great to have you with us, and it's great to have everyone with us this morning, as this is your show on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM, coming at you live every day from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. And yes, today is the best day. Julia, thank you. And it's the first fact shared in the morning, for sure. Good morning, Lise. Thanks for being with us. And make sure to, as you're doing already, comment. Don't be afraid to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. As our page is, in fact, growing, we're grateful for everybody's, support, because it really does increase the amount of people who are aware of the show. And as many people are aware of the show, good morning, Marco. Glad to have you with us. As many people that are aware of the show then can at least choose to be a part of it, or, at least know that we're here and know that their voice can be, part of the conversation somehow. Or you just be a fly on the wall and watch the show. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know whose phone's going off, but we're getting notifications coming through through the mics. But anyways, so just to be aware of that. And we have two guests, co-hosts ready to come on today. Grateful for the balanced local news source. Well, thank you very much, Shane. Appreciate it. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to have an unbiased opinion, although we admit there's no way around the fact that we come from our own biases, and if we get enough people with biases together sharing their points of view, you can actually influence someone else's biases, and that's actually a good thing, because then you have a more robust conversation. First of all, you learn things you might not have realized or known before, and you can have a more fulfilling life, get to know more people, get to know more points of view, have more patience with other people's points of view if they don't not exactly align with yours as well. And so with that, I'd like to bring in Anik and welcome her. Before we get to the weather, I'll just introduce who we got on the show today. Anik, how are you doing today?
Hello, good morning. It's going to be a beautiful day today, guys.
I guess that's the theme we've started with, and we're sticking with that one. Billy, do you share that point of view?
Yeah, I concur. Yeah.
Well, so far we're all in agreement. We don't have to have this idea of patience with each other's opposing points of view, but you never know. We don't always agree with each other. And although we've had many, many conversations, the three of us that are facilitating and co-hosting the show today, we don't agree on everything, and you're not going to agree on everything we think or whatever, and that's the beautifulness of this whole thing. So let's just kick it off with some weather, and we'll get into a lot of the headlines we got for today, and let's get on with the show. I'll be right back. So today's weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca, which basically is a page on Sudbury.news. We try to, we've started it off where we think that's a good place to start, and we're going to build from there and make it better and better. And any suggestions you have, thoughts that could make our website better, you are more than free to let us know, because That's basically your website. It's there for you. We've tried to make it an aggregator for as much information as possible about the city in one place. You can go one place and get everything you need. So if you see something that's missing or something you think should be there, let us know. And we do have a weather page there that's chock full of stuff, and it's just going to get better and better from here. Currently, it's 11 degrees. It's 88% humidity. Today, we can expect cloudy, 40% chance of showers early this morning. Showers beginning in the morning, and we're predicted to get about 10 to 15 millimeters of rain. The wind could be gusting up to 50 kilometers. High will be a low. The high will be a low 14. Hard to put that into a sentence that makes sense. So it's going to be cool today, even though the high is 14. UV index will be 2 or low. Oh yeah, the temperature will be falling to 5. So it's going to get cooler and cooler as the day goes on. And then tonight, rain is in the forecast, changing to, the first time I'm saying it this year, flurries. So already October the 6th, and we've said the word this early in the fall. Not even fall yet, I guess, but towards fall. October 6th, flurries are a possibility tonight. Local snowfall in the amount of 2 centimeters. The wind will be gusting up to 60. So you got a new front coming in of cold. We could have showers, and not looking forward to that one bit, ladies and gents. But maybe you are. Maybe you're a winter person. You never know. Friday, overcast.
Sorry.
And Nick is a winter person. But you're also a summer person too, Nick, so I gotta
and
say
a fall person.
Yeah, no, you're an everything person. So
Yes, I am.
So here you go. My computer's barking at me over here, so I'll have to look at that as well. Friday, overcast, wind will be gusting up to 60 as well. The UV index, I guess the good news in all this, will be rather low. Friday, only a high of 6, overcast. Saturday, chance of showers, high of 10, 30% chance of precipitation. Sunday, chance of showers, and in 30% range. I thought the weekend was looking nice earlier, but I guess 30%, that means there's a 70% chance that there's no showers going to happen. I'm going to go with that. And then your Monday, Tuesday, mix of sun and cloud and highs of between 11 and 15. That's your long range. Look at your satellite over northern Ontario. You can see a lot of clouds going on, a lot of precipitation, a lot of activity going on in terms of wet. So we'll be back right after this with your news headlines. And maybe I'll find out what's going on with my computer barking at me over here. We'll be right back after these. As soon as it clicks. And let's see if this is going to work today. Yesterday we had a bit of a glitch, but it looks like it is working, in fact, so that's good. I guess Nick just has to be on the top. I guess there's some.
Not going to comment.
No, I'm not even going to go there either. So, there the headlines today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to really look over what we got. There's all kinds of things, but I'm just going to get into it here.
There's a couple themes here. I noticed there's more about the proposed riding boundary changes.
For sure. Sure.
And there's more time to do that. Public outcry has made a difference.
Oh,
yep. So
look at that, guys.
So I guess they're prolonging the amount of time before they make a decision because of the pushback that they've received. So yeah, that's good.
Speaking up makes a difference, is what we're learning.
Speaking up does make a difference, for sure.
Instead of just sitting idle in your home watching Netflix, we need to get involved.
For sure, yes. I got to keep up on some of the comments here. I think they're weather-related comments. Yeah. But yeah.
You feel we're getting closer to direct democracy? You know, someday we'll have like an app or something for all these things. We like vote like every week. It's like, we want this.
Yeah.
Did you watch yesterday's show, Billy?
You did.
I heard the first half of it, and then I gotta get out of my car and go to work.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Oh, I didn't hear that part, but
Oh,
I know
that's
that's
interesting.
yeah. Well, I guess the idea is out there in the ether.
He missed that part when we were talking about it though, but he's
Wow.
he's somehow tapped in to the ether.
That is pretty cool. It's kind of interesting. Any ideas you have, sometimes you'll just turn around and it's happening somewhere, like after you've talked about it or thought about it. And it's just, I truly believe that your thought coming and vibration that you're putting out there, and someone might pick it up. You gotta be careful.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, Carl Jung had a lot to say about that. One quote I think was, when an idea whose time has come will present itself to all those who are open to it, which was kind of like a neat sort of, there's a central sort of, we're receivers and there's a transmitter kind of situation.
I believe that. I believe
The collective consciousness.
Yeah, I believe there's a transmuter, probably the creator, whatever you want to call him. It, she, her. And it's sending out some waves and like that. And when you're ready, and if anyone's ready to hear that information, if you're open, you're like an antenna, because I know in my life, I've been able to transform my life just by my thoughts. It's just changed perspective.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are just living a very negative life, and it's because you are literally focusing on all the negative, and then that grows. And it's proven over and over and over again about like thoughts are powerful, like plants.
And a lot of the ideas that change the world, apparently, like when you look at the history of the people and how they came up with them, it's usually when they were sort of like in a deep, like they stop thinking about it and they go for a walk, and it sort of comes through the subconscious. So
I love it.
Yeah, you guys are on a metaphysical plane this morning.
Yeah, we took this on a completely different rail.
Anyways, so there's all kinds of, and we're okay to do that on the show. We're okay. We do that all the time, and I think that's normal. It's basically a conversation, and it doesn't have to just be, kept down to some simplified things. I think we can pretty much feel comfortable going anywhere. But I'm just going to go down the headlines, and then I'm going to unpack a few things. So we already talked about the suspension, or I guess the prolonging of the time before they make the decision of the new boundaries where we're going to have representation in Northern Ontario. Thank you very much for that. This is a good one here. Robert Kerwin, he doesn't live in Ward 5, but he knows it inside and out.
Oh.
Yep. You can understand why I'm a firm believer that anyone who's going to serve as ward councillor should have deep and solid ties to his or her ward. As you can see from the above, I have always had comprehensive knowledge of every part of Valley East, and I'm well known to all residents. So he's digging in his heels of the whole idea of you can't vote for someone else who hasn't been in power already. Even if I don't live in the ward, I've been representing it all this time. So don't vote for someone new, because I've learned a lot since I've been in. But he makes a point.
Everyone in the Valley, I feel, knows about him, but it's not always a positive thing. Rumor has it anytime he would post something on his Valley East page, he would then go and delete the comments, and people would say, like, why are we deleting these comments? And then he would have, supposedly, rumors that he would go into other accounts, or he has other accounts, and then he would comment on the post like, oh, this is such a great idea. And people are like, I don't know, It just came out that people thought that it was him. So anyway.
And it was him, because he's the moderator. He's the one who started Valley East Facebook page.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, right? So I guess he's been able to use that as somewhat of a tool politically or whatever, and you never know. Did he do everything ethically along the way? I have no idea. I think the temptation would be there to, spin certain things certain ways, Yeah.
Also, he's like pro, housing, and he just thinks it's a great idea to have more housing for everybody and just spend more money, taxpayers' money, and instead of having treatment centers, and just it's all about spending money.
He's definitely a polarizing figure. But one of the things I appreciated about him, he's not afraid to share his opinion. Like, he's not like, let's say, a Brian Bigger, who kind of seems to be non-public. He kind of hides away. You don't hear much from him. at least with Kerwin, you know what he's thinking. He's very open about it. Now, whether or not you agree with him, I think that is a positive thing to say. He doesn't come out of left field all
I'd
of
rather
a sudden.
know where you stand than not
Yeah.
know where you stand.
Yeah, exactly. So that's him digging in his heels there, and I appreciate that. That's something he's trying to hang on to his seat, and the fact that he wants to continue to serve the city, I think, is valiant to some degree. And what's this about fires going on? All kinds of small fires throughout the city.
Is there an uptick in fires? I didn't get to that. Or I think maybe when I clicked on it, did it start a video?
I don't know. We're gonna see. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this is from Sudbury, not Sudbury, but
CTV News?
CTV
Northern
News.
Ontario.
Yeah. So we'll wait for the ads to go by here, and then we'll share the video because I'm curious about all these new fires that have been going on, and is there something we need to be concerned about? I know recently there was that one business owner who had all their businesses targeted with fires. We had some deaths in fires recently, so let's just check in here, see if there's anything we need to be concerned about, and then share the screen. We'll be right back. Here you go. Make sure the sound works.
Eric, firefighters in Greater Sudbury were busy battling several small fires that erupted in the city this morning. Fire officials say the blazes occurred at various locations in the downtown core. And this was the scene of a blaze at a multi-unit residential building on Whistle Street, where no injuries were reported.
Fire crews were quick to start mitigating that fire, getting that fire under control. Thankfully, with the quick actions, the fire didn't spread inside the residence or into any of the apartments. All the apartments were searched. No one's living in the building at this time, and everything was made safe. However, the cause of the fire was deemed suspicious.
And the Ontario Fire Marshal's office has now been called in to help investigate the cause of that fire.
So it does look like that's happened before there. It looks like no one's living in the building, and it's kind of common, right? You're going to have
I
people.
wonder who owns the building, and if the other fires, it's the same owner that owns the other buildings, or
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
that barber shop in Sudbury.
Maybe, I don't know. Could be. Anyways, it's I don't know. Is it people looking for a place to live and then something, you know what I mean, caught on fire by accident? Is it the owner trying to do an insurance job, like a Nick, I think, is alluding to? Yeah, it's hard to say. But they talk about increase in fires, but they only talked about the one fire. So I would have been curious to see if there actually was, like Billy was saying, is there an actual uptick in fires? So again, journalism and covering things, not always the clearest, but we do have questions.
Yeah.
I think Sudbury.com did a story this morning about that fire as well. But okay, back to Robert Kerwin. I guess Louise is saying she's not in support of him. You want to post on Valley East Facebook page, but you have to pay. It's crooked money. Really? You have to pay to post on the Valley East Facebook page? I didn't know that.
Yes, this is true.
Well, Pam's
How
saying,
is that true? How do they do that?
I don't know.
So he owns the page, so you can't. Nobody can just post on the page. So if you want to post on the page, he has to accept the post, and then it looks like you have to pay.
Yeah, maybe it's not money. I don't know. I don't know if he's accepting bribes, but you can keep your comments on as long as you do. But Pam's saying she used to live in that building, 530 Whistle, and she
And she
swears
said
something.
Yeah, evil lives within those walls. Strange occurrence when I lived there.
Oh, weird. That's weird. Sudbury hauntings.
Erica Dawn says something is up. Insurance companies are starting to be insane to get coverage now. And this is true. I started calling to get house insurance, and the amount of my house insurance rate went up significantly. And I asked why, and he said, it's because a lot of people are now doing small claims. A lot of people aren't working. And if a window breaks, they will do a claim for a window where before they wouldn't have done a claim. So now a lot of people are doing small claims.
Okay. Well, there's just more claims probably too, right? Because if there's a lot of smaller ones, it means there's more. It means they're doling out more money, which means insurance goes up. And I do believe there's a lot of insurance fraud too that doesn't get found out. Unfortunately, there are people out there that will go through, whatever measures it is to make it look like an accident, because I mean there is motive there, right? If you get all that money and you're not found out, unfortunately, it is a temptation for a lot of people. But I guess Julia has specified that it's businesses, I guess, that are on the Facebook page that have to pay, which I think is normal anyways. Businesses usually have to pay for things like that.
Like you can't share a positive review about a business. It calls it spam.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, if you mention a business in your post, like, oh, I really appreciated so-and-so's hairdressing. I just got my hair done. He'll say, no, you can't do that without paying, probably.
Right. So Erica says farm insurance is near impossible. We had to crank our deductible way up just to get coverage. Erica, what kind of farm do you have? Please send me information. It's always good to know local farmers in our area.
For sure.
Me and Aaron and I've talked about a little project about, farmers in our area that we should get on that.
Well, I think so. And the whole idea was getting all the local farmers, and they probably already have something like this to some extent, or maybe things have started and haven't been followed through, but a comprehensive list of all the farms, what they offer, how to get in contact, where they sell their things, how can you buy their things, and maybe make a more of a strong network. Maybe like Eat Local was, I guess, somehow trying to do it at some point and doing a pretty good job of it, but maybe not having a brick and mortar store, but at least having a website, social media, things that people can get in contact with you directly to buy your products and link people who have a need with you. Yeah, exactly.
How about an app like this? Appetite for app connecting surplus food with local charities.
Hey, that was our next story. Billy's on the ball.
Love it.
But
it's a little bit different, but similar.
I would think it would be very similar. You just have an app if you're looking for something and you type it in and all these local farms pop up where they offer that. Is that, or even notifications when they have, here, this is ripe and on the shelf over here.
We have 16 chickens available, and then it comes up as notifications on people's apps, and then the first ones that click it, they automatically get put into the, whatever, and they, it's reserved for them, and then they can make arrangements to pick it up or whatever. That's a pretty good idea. This particular app here, it links not-for-profit organizations with businesses or establishments that have excess food. Example, restaurants, grocery stores, maybe even farmers. They have excess food. They're going to throw it out. So they then put their food on this app, and then the not-for-profits go, oh, we have so much food from this organization, and then it goes to them, and then they distribute it to the people that have the need.
I love that, because there's just so much excess that is being wasted, and we could probably feed all the homeless downtown with like Tim Hortons and all these restaurants, but I wonder if it's cooked food, if you're allowed to go and pick that up, because there's a lot of waste. They waste a lot of the food. So
much waste. And again, with the legalities and the liability, the aspect of some liabilities that can come back on, let's say, a grocery store that gives their expired food to someone and they get sick, and then they sue the grocery store. So now they're not allowed to do that.
Why can't we, if companies can be protected by other mandates and nobody's liable for certain things, it's just so interesting to me that we just can't change the legalities for that, where as soon as it leaves our restaurant or our store, we are no longer responsible.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
This is food that we do not approve of. But if someone wants to go and eat it, that's on your end.
To me, that would be so simple, right? You just sign a form or something saying, I won't hold you liable if you give me your food.
Yeah.
Isn't it that? Shouldn't it be that simple?
Exactly. Or it goes to court and the court says, well, where this is being thrown out because they're doing a good deed and you chose to eat it. You went in their dumpster and picked up this food, or you grabbed the food knowing that it's expired. That is on you.
Yeah, exactly. I guess Julie is also saying there's no food shortage, it's just a bunch of red tape.
Right now.
Exactly. So Erica's here. Her comment is, I think, a little bit too big to have the whole thing be up on the screen, but I'm sharing it there.
Why can't
We are in a program to get the excess from grocery stores after charities get the better stuff. Then it goes to farm animals. Okay, that makes sense. We get about 70 banana boxes of produce weekly. It's crazy what's wasted and the reasons it can't be sold. 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the idea of dumpster divers too, right? Pam knows some dumpster divers, or a dumpster diver. And the amount is not just food, but just products in general being wasted is crazy. Clothing. Now cuts holes in all their clothes before throwing them out. Oh, interesting. It's ridiculous why they can't just donate them. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's seen some heartbreaking videos like that where they, and I guess it's kind of to protect the industry because they have a business model, and it depends on a certain supply and demand. And if somehow you create an excess of, it's going to bring the cost of it down. So you have to keep.
But I also believe that it's a different clientele that goes in the dumpsters. And
oh, for sure, yeah. No.
And even if you grab the good clothes and you sold it, that's a completely different clientele that would be buying that clothes than for someone like me that just likes to go into a store and buying the clothes. So again, it's ego, and I feel like they could possibly be making more money, but I see what you're saying, and I see their idea, but I feel like if their model was to give more than they take, they would actually, in the end, I think, make more money in the world.
It would, yeah. Or even like a section of the store goes, okay, the things we're about to throw out, pay us what you think it's worth kind of thing over there. And then people come in and, or it goes to another charity.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be in the store, not even associated with the store.
You're right.
It's just all this is going to a charity like Salvation Army or something, and it just goes there.
Yep. It supports a charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people have never gone into a Salvation Army. They don't
exactly.
shop there.
No. So it's a different clientele. It's a different group, and it's helping people that are unfortunate. And it's instead of a big corporation. So now these big corporations doing this, throwing these things in the dumpster, cutting holes in things, throwing out their food. They'll give $1 million donation to some charity somewhere. Why are you doing that when you could have just gave your products you're throwing out anyways, and it's going to have the same value to that organization when they sell your things you're giving to them for free. So it really, again, it's more sustainable in a lot of ways too, right? We talk a lot about environmental issues and sustainability, yet there's these types of things that could be a lot more sustainable and make more sense in a lot of ways.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure their accountants look at it and they it's probably a bottom line decision.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and accountants aren't business people. And when you just look at the numbers, sometimes you don't actually see the
whole picture
effect that happened in your community. You don't see the pay it forward. You don't see the love. You don't see the community gatherness that happens. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you miss when you're an accountant, when you're just looking at the numbers.
Like you were saying, even the public relations side of it, of doing something good, the accountant won't see that. They'll just see the bottom line. They don't see the whole picture that, that encompasses business, period.
Oh, it's true. Erica says, meanwhile, let's not forget environmental impact of throwing out fabrics and plastics when it could be used.
For sure.
These are also big corporations that are, talking about environmental change and our carbon imprint, and now they're just throwing everything out. So Marco says, I don't remember 100%, but there's a guy in Toronto who goes around the restaurants and takes their leftovers and gives them to the homeless. We need more people like that guy.
For sure. Yeah, it sounds like it's a grassroots type of a thing, like someone, kind of like we're doing. We're just like, we're not asking permission for anyone to do this show. We're not hired by anyone. We're just kind of doing it, and we're doing a service for the community. Well, it's the same idea, right? Someone sees a need, they just go out and they kind of do it. And that's to be applauded. People that are just kind of self-starters like that, filling the needs in the community. Same with school supplies and kids' toys, household items. So much gets thrown out and still packaged with nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you're right. So much waste, eh? Crazy stuff. Now, if you're speaking of saving money, I guess, if you're looking at some of these things, waste, have you ever gone to the school to get your teeth cleaned or whitened by the students for the dental?
$15.
Cambrian College offers, but they're okay. So they've got their dentistry thing back up and running, right, Billy? As far as I know.
I think so.
Yeah. So you can go there and you get your teeth done or whatever. So look for that at Cambrian College. They got that back up and running. Now they're also offering, this is a really cool thing, a pre-early childhood education program. So if you're ever thinking of working at daycares or working with children or whatever, but it's too long to go to school, maybe the 2-year program or whatever, you can go to this pre-early childhood education program, get a certificate, get into the field, get working, see if you like it, and then you can do the schooling kind of afterwards if you want to get paid. The pay's in around $18 an hour starting if you got this certificate. And if you had the 2-year program, it goes to like $22 an hour or whatever. So if you're happy making about 18, you can just take this course, get into the field. So I really like this idea. I think schools should have been doing this many, many years ago. These kind of certificate programs before you go for the longer, diploma. How many people have gone to school for 2-3 years and realized, this isn't really for me. And they wasted money, they wasted their time and all that. Whereas here they can go get a certificate, get into the field, get some real world experience, see if they like it. And if they do, they can then go back to school and take the 2-year or whatever course.
I like that idea. I think it's a great idea because a lot of time people are wasting their money and wasting their time. And another thing, like what you were just talking about, Aaron, is that we're not asking permission to create this show. We're just doing it. And not enough people are doing that. They're waiting for the government. They're waiting for the city to organize things when people should just get together and just do the things that they want to do. And it's kind of like your business. Or kind of like your education. Some people are like, oh, wow, this is not the field I want to be in. But they just got, a master's degree and they're going to go back to school. It's like, you can still go in a different environment or a different industry with the degree you have. Just go get a job. It might be like a starting job and then you're going to move up. But a lot of people, it's kind of like they're like in these barriers and there's no actual barriers. You can do whatever really you want.
Yeah, they're kind of like self-imposed barriers or barriers we think that are there.
Yeah.
And whether we're whatever we think. If we think there's barriers, we're right. And we think there's no barriers, we're right. Because we are right. If we think there's barriers, we make them.
Exactly. I have this image in my mind, and it's like there's a bunch of sheep, and there's a little fence with a little opening, and all the sheep are going through this little opening, but the fence is not even closed in. They're not even going out the other way.
Yeah, it's like an imaginary one.
Yeah.
So there was a shooting yesterday, and that was what we started the show with. But we had no information on this shooting, on I think it was the corner of Alder and Willow, I believe. And so CTV Northern Ontario has the story on it. So let's just check in with them, and then we'll comment on it right after this. But we're going to need sound, so we'll rewind this.
This Wednesday, I'm Jessica Goslin. 4 people are in custody after multiple gunshots were heard in Sudbury's West End early this morning. The reports came in shortly after 2 a.m. in the area of Willow Street. When police arrived at the scene, they saw a vehicle leaving the area and later stopped it, where they discovered a 19-year-old man was shot. Officers also found a loaded gun. The driver of the vehicle, along with 2 people at the Willow Street residence, were also taken into custody. The investigation is ongoing.
So what do you guys think of that? I think we've been talking about several shootings lately in the city. Is it something we should be worried about? Or
I think if you don't do drugs, you're good. I don't know. I feel like most of the problems are happening surrounding drugs. Like we don't do drugs, give hugs, people. We need more love and just, don't hang out with a bunch of a-holes. If you hang out with a-holes, then you might make bad decisions in life, and you need to be with better people.
So, and then I appreciate that point of view, and I do believe a lot of us have that, but that's, you ever hear that, suck it up, just deal with it, get over it, stop crying in your cereal, but but sometimes some people need more than that, than just like a kick in the pants or whatever. And it's easy for somebody who has kind of in a different situation looking at certain people of a demographic that may be struggling with things like addiction or whatever, and just say, just quit drugs. Get on with your life.
No. That's hard. That's hard. We don't have any services. We need treatment centers. Erica says, oh, great, better restrict deer hunters more.
Well, that's what the politics of guns has been historically.
Well, look at that.
In Canada. Whenever there's a shooting involving drugs or, black market guns and things like that, they come after the law-abiding gun people that do everything right, and they start taking their guns away, which is just it's a political ideology that they just exploit whenever things like this happen, which isn't reality. They should actually just get to, like we were talking about, the crux of the matter. There's an opioid crisis in Sudbury, and how are we going to deal with that? Are we just going to assist them in taking opioids? Is that the end of the story with the safe injection site, or are we going to actually help them to overcome it and get out of it? Because you can go take your opioids safely, but now you're high and you need more, and so you're not thinking properly, and you're getting into scuffles, and because you're not thinking properly, and you're playing games like whatever it is, like what is it called there? There's a bunch of them now, violent games.
Yeah.
Is there violent games?
Yeah. I was talking to someone and he was telling me how he used to sell fentanyl. And he would say, and I would drive to Toronto and buy bricks of fentanyl. And I'm like, where are you getting this fentanyl from this guy? Well, I'm like, where would this guy get this fentanyl? And I'm like, it's all corrupt, because obviously he's getting it from like medical services, like from somewhere that they make fentanyl, and they're just passing it onto the streets.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if these places would start getting audited, because don't you have an inventory? And there's this much fentanyl missing. Why, as a government, if we care federally, why aren't we doing audits on these places that are making fentanyl, that are making, opioids and things like that? And maybe we could eliminate a lot of drugs getting on the streets.
For sure, definitely. So Marco's kind of talking about the whole gun thing too. Of course, someone's going to go take the course, register everything, get their gun, and then go shoot someone with it.
Right.
So it's obviously not going to be happening. Connecting with people over our mutual dislikes for dumb government policies is my passion in life. I guess Julie is saying Erica and her got together as a friendship over the whole gun thing. So that's interesting. Well, I guess some things have silver linings, right? So when you you get involved and you kind of try and do positive things to keep your community safe and stop dumb things, I guess, to use your wording, dumb things from happening, you can make friends. It's one of the silver linings.
Says, violent crimes of all sorts have gone up in our city. Yes, drugs are a major problem, but the root problem is emotional health, which makes sense. Even those who don't do drugs are getting violent. So many people with emotional instability.
For sure.
And when that happens in your neighborhood too, like that's it kind of rocks the neighborhood. It's tends to spread the emotional volatility.
Spread. How much? So Jerome says, how much does the city profit from never-ending methadone programs? More so the allopath that runs the place.
Yeah, I know Jerome's pretty studied on this subject, and whenever we get to this, he always has some pretty pertinent information, for sure. Appreciate that, Jerome. Thank you.
Shane says, that's a major positive thing that happened the past 2 years. I ended up connecting with a lot of like-minded people. Yeah, that's why it's really good to share your opinions online and participate in the conversation, because you will find like-minded individuals, and that's always a good thing.
Well, it's funny, we were kind of talking about this, and I was going to share this on Sudbury News, but I didn't. There's a story on, I think it was CTV or Sudbury Star, I think it was CTV, that talked about the states just launched a conservative dating app.
Oh.
So you're only going to date people with your own kind of, where you're coming from with values and ideals and whatever, and no Democrats are allowed to be on the dating site. So it's only for conservatives, and it's getting all kinds of backlash, and people are, the haters
Like,
are coming
who-
out.
Yeah, it's
And
got a
I'd like
negative
to know-
side to it.
Well, who would give a backlash? Like, why do we care? Like, just don't use the dating app. Like, if
Yeah,
if
for
you're
sure.
using the dating app, like, why
Yeah.
do we care? Why are we even talking about it? Like,
Yeah, I know. But I was going to share it, but it seemed like, it's talking about places you meet people when you have similar points of view and things like that. And so that is one place where people would have similar points of view.
Yeah,
because you
I
don't
don't
want
know.
to meet someone who's really cute, who is like, he's 6 feet tall, he's all the things, and then he has completely different views than me. So
Yeah.
for me, I would love an app that
Yeah.
eliminates all these things,
Yeah.
and then we're all like-minded people,
You're going to say, Billy?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other side of it too is I kind of like having like a lot of different circles across the spectrum, and you get to hang out with people, and it's hard to just have conversations with people. Sometimes, actually, like when you're sort of friends with people in these camps, and you get a much more deeper understanding of sort of like where they're coming from, and kind of like the movement to sort of polarize people. And make sure like this, these people stay isolated from these people. That might have like a dangerous outcome down the road.
You know what, Billy? That makes sense, because I went on a date with someone who has completely different views than me, and it actually opened me up to things that I didn't even realize, and actually different parts of the city that I didn't even know was there. And so you know what? Yeah, I agree with you, but this is also not a long-term. It wouldn't work long-term, but
Yeah, and
I'm
the other
still
side of
learning
it too,
and growing.
like you say, when you feel like kind of alone and you don't have any kind of support group, it's nice to find other people in that who feel the same way as you.
Yeah, Shane's saying he's waiting for the Libertarian app. So he can find the one Libertarian who's living in Sudbury to date.
What's a libertarian?
It's more of a conservative. It's on the right, basically. You believe in more freedom of choice, and there's a few
Less government,
less government,
maybe no
yeah.
government. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, more just individual. It's about the individual. I'm not going to explain it probably perfectly, but it's a form of conservatism, but it's more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I highly agree with a lot of their ideals.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Like I think there was only a few things that I was like, yeah, but by and large, there's one guy I follow. He used to be on 60 Minutes. He's got the mustache.
Oh, Stossel?
Stossel. Yeah, John Stossel. And I really appreciate his, he's a libertarian, and I really appreciate his news. And he asks the questions. He doesn't come out and really say his point of view, but he asks, well, why are we thinking like this? What are we doing? Where is this going to lead? Basic questions like that, like you would think a reporter should just ask. And it usually leads to finding out the answers. But I appreciate his approach. He's a libertarian. Yeah, and politics is a division, unfortunately, is what Jerome is saying. Divides people. Unfortunately, it does. I would like to think, even though I have my own political points of view, that I'm able to not have it divide my relationships or acquaintances with relationships with acquaintances. We even talked about abortion the other day at my office, and I thought, someone was really adamantly on one side, and I was kind of just sharing the devil's advocate, and there was a lot of emotion coming from out of that. So I just kind of said, okay, probably get to wrap this one up a little bit, kind of not go any further, just because I don't want anyone to, feel uncomfortable or whatever. They aren't uncomfortable talking about it, obviously.
You're really good at that, Aaron. You're good at sharing your opinion, but making people feel comfortable. Even if they have a different opinion, it's kind of like you're just listening. You're not like me being super assertive, like, no, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, and I think Pam was saying the same thing. She really appreciates communicating with people with opposite points of view. you do get a lot more out of it if you're open. Sure, and I can walk away from that conversation not feeling like I was offended in any way. They're not trying to offend me. They're just sharing their own points of view, which I respect. And if I, again, my core values is that I appreciate the idea of being different. And I want to be allowed to be different. If some of my points of view are different than yours, I appreciate the freedom to be different. And if I appreciate that in myself, I should really celebrate the fact that you are different and you're saying something that I should respect if I want you to respect mine. So I'm going to respect your point of view and truly respect it, not be like, just rolling my eyes and allowing you to speak and then, being condescending back or whatever. I mean, truly respect where you're coming from. And speaking of that, Miranda Rocca-Tricelli was called out to task for being in favor of the truckers. We talked about this at the last of the show yesterday, and Billy, I guess, missed that segment. So it goes along with this particular idea. Pam truly believes in freedom of choice. I have to respect the choice people make. Exactly. Sure. I think we're on the same wavelength, Pam.
Yeah, and I appreciate when people have an opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people are just neutral, and I'm like, meh, that's, to me, I'm
Perfect.
actually trying to learn how to even not have an opinion, like literally just look at everything. That's something really hard to do. But when someone is sharing an opinion, that you just listen to them, and like you said, maybe ask questions on like why they think that way. There's like a different approach when people are sharing an opinion, especially an opinion that's opposed to yours.
Yeah. Because I think the only way you're going to actually influence someone else is, I think that's why, like, we kind of want to share our point of view. We want maybe others to see it like we do, and we think maybe the end of the conversation, their ideas are going to be changed for some reason from something we said. Good luck on that one. It's going to take a lot to change someone else's points of view, and I think the only way you can and somehow change someone else's point of view is really hear their point of view. First of all, in order to do that, you need to take time to hear where they're coming from, and the respect and listening and understanding. It's not a one conversation thing. And then I think as you do that for them, then they might not listen to where you're coming from too. So it's not just a quick conversation if you want to influence someone else. But here's the thing, Miranda Rocca-Tricelli came out. She said, first, and this is a good segue, our conversation, by the way. First, I want to make it clear that my personal opinions and perspectives on some topics come from personal experiences that I will not share because they are private, which is true. I'd like to state that the most, if not all, individuals choosing to speak publicly about their perception of me have never met and or had a conversation with me. I believe before we can make assumptions about people, it's worth being fair and allowing them to share their position. I've not been given the opportunity and, therefore, have chosen to make a statement. So she's saying basically she didn't have to do this, but because, I guess, everyone's making a big deal about it, she's going to clarify. My position is clear. I did not support a quote-unquote truck convoy, and to provide more detail that I should not have to provide, but I will, I did not financially support any such truck convoy. Well, which means she didn't have her bank account shut down, which is probably a good thing. What I do fully and undeniably support is everyone's right to bodily autonomy. Each and everyone's right to bodily autonomy and the right to choose what is best for their health based on their own health care needs. I hold 2 science degrees, a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and a Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Biology. I understand science. I will also stand for the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. As the daughter of a first-generation immigrant who chose this land for freedoms and rights it offered, I will uphold these freedoms. Our charter is what upholds our democratic rights, and it's critical to our citizenship. Under no circumstance will I, or have I ever, supported violence. I support peaceful protests. All Canadians have, and that have led to policy changes within our nation for hundreds of years. And now I will say this. I like what she's saying, and I do support that as well. And I think what she's referring to, and I think what happened was the media demonized the whole trucker movement. They were peacefully protesting, but they were given a bad rap, that they're violent when they weren't. There's no evidence of violence. There's not one thing. The only pictures we remember of violence is when the police moved in to take them out, and that looked like violence when it actually really wasn't. They were peacefully just standing in front of the police. There was no violence there. And so they were peacefully protesting. And so if you, as a Canadian who uphold the Charter, as Miranda was saying, support peaceful protests, I'm sorry to break it to you right now, you supported the trucker protest. Because you supported a peaceful protest. And that's all that happened. Now, if you supported Black Lives Matter, their protest, a lot of them could be said, and there is evidence to show, had violent tendencies to them. They were violent. They became violent at different points in time, and there's evidence that shows that. Now, do I support Black Lives Matter? I do. I support the idea that all lives matter, as then came in later with the Every Child Matters movement for Indigenous peoples. So I support all peoples. I support people who come to Canada for freedom. They come here to be free, and we support that idea on this show. There's not one person's comment that will come in that I will put down and say, get off of here, you are so whatever, and put you down and not treat you with respect, because that's what we do here in Canada. And I think Miranda, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, she's obviously done a great job of relating with the media what she does agree with and doesn't agree with. And I appreciate that she's come out and clarified, because it takes a good, communicator to do that with the community.
Yeah. And actually, even the fact that she brought that up at the time, in my mind, lends herself to be qualified to be in political position, because, it was a very unpopular opinion at the time. So I think it kind of, it's a sign of integrity when you have something that's very high risk, no reward to come out, but you feel the need to say it anyway. Where I think in politics there's a tendency to get along to go along. That's kind of opens the door for corruption. And I think if somebody is passionate about something and says how they feel, when it seems like there's not a lot of benefit to saying it, that's in my mind a sign of integrity.
For sure. Now, with Adam's last comment of well said, thank you. I've shared everybody's comments. Wow, I can't believe I did that. There's so many comments. Thank you, everyone, for commenting. And thank you, Billy, for that last word. And thanks, Nick, for being on the show. That's all the time we got for today, unfortunately. And we left with this same subject yesterday as well. So it just seems like maybe we should start with it tomorrow, just to get through it a little bit better. But thanks for all you all. Make sure to like, share, and all that stuff with our social media channels. Thanks for listening to us on CKLU. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. We'll see you same time, same place, right here on all these channels tomorrow. Thanks for commenting, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. Ciao.
This